It seems that Games Workshop is really rotating the Space Marine range in earnest now. Lots of iconic character kits are being retired, including the Captain, Commander, some Chaos kits, and some expansions are going away as well. Hello and welcome back to Warspace Tactics, where today we're just talking about some of the things that have gone last chance to buy on Games Workshop's web store. It seems it's another crackdown on the firstborn kits that they don't really want to sell anymore, though perhaps there are some really quite surprising choices mixed in. Fairly core choices like the Space Marine Commander, or this relatively recent Librarian and Terminator armor, and there's a fair bit more going away that's either interesting or might show things in the future. Really quite a lot to talk about. So a few weeks back, Games Workshop basically announced how they will be introducing the concept of a rotating range to Space Marines, not keeping everything in stock all the time, and basically it boiling down to removing a whole load of products from the web store with no real guarantee as to if and when they'll ever return. I kind of feel like this is their friendly way of saying these kits are probably not going to come back anytime soon, perhaps never, while reserving the rights to maybe release some of the more in-demand kits from time to time, maybe on a made-to-order type basis, say like they're doing with the Eldar Autarchs now. This whole rotating range thing does feel like it is basically phase 1 of the Space Marine Firstborn phase out, where everything's going to gradually wind up being just Primaris. The main issue being that Games Workshop just has an enormous back catalogue of Firstborn models, a lot of which don't really sell particularly well, at least not compared with the more recent releases, and it seems to be quite a logistical challenge to keep all of it in stock all the time, particularly when any volume sales of any given product are fairly low. Unlike last time, where Games Workshop basically posted a bit of a covering letter on Warhammer Community as to why they were removing those choices, this one appears to have been unannounced. They just seem to have gone up last chance to buy on Games Workshop's web store with no real explanation that I can see. This set of removed models, though, does appear to include really quite a lot of generic HQ choices. They've really trimmed back the Firstborn HQ line to the absolute bare bones, and also a bunch of older Resin Chaos HQs are going, an interim Primaris set, and the Warzone expansion books from last year for 40k. So let's just take a look through and see what's going and what's interesting about each one. Starting out with those Space Marine characters then, I'd say probably the headline news is that the standard Space Marine Commander set is going, the guy in the bottom at the middle here. That's one that I think will hit a fair few people hard. Really quite an old kit, but an absolutely massively flexible HQ character. It's got the vast majority of the Space Marine power weapons there, plus a bunch of different aesthetic details, and a whole load of nice combi weapon options and things. He really is quite a nice flexible kit. As well as that for captains, there's the plastic one with the combi grav going on the bottom left, the Master of Executions with his massive great big power axe on the bottom right, and a few other resin captains including the Masters of the Chapter, the one where you basically got different company leaders all in one big box. It now appears that there's only one Firstborn captain available for the Space Marines, and that's the one that you get in a combined box with the command squad. He's just basically armed with a power sword. For Firstborn captains, I do wonder if that's going to have some dire consequences for what's going to be available in the next codex. If they're not selling all these different war gear choices, are they just going to remove rules support for them? I mean, hopefully not, but they do like their no models, no rules thing. As well as that, the Terminator Librarian is gone. Again, that's somewhat of a surprise to me, as he's a relatively recent plastic kit as he goes. I really can see them retiring all the resin models, but it really does feel strange to have perfectly fine plastic kits go in the way of the Dodo. There's also a resin chaplain with jump pack that's gone, and the individual releases of Tech Marines and Servitors going away. You have to buy them all in one big box now, so a little bit less flexibility there. If you look through the Space Marine HQ section on the website, it's going to leave some fairly slim pickings. There's that Captain and Command Squad box, the Captain only armed with a power sword, that Tech Marine and Servitors box, one plastic Chaplain and Librarian on foot, and then the Horus Heresy kit with the Cataphracti Captain and the Chaplain as a dual kit. It's certainly true that the Space Marines have an absolutely massive back catalogue of various different HQ sculpts. It does feel a bit brutal to have quite so many of them called at once though, perhaps particularly that multi-part Space Marine Commander, which really gives you a lot of flexible options for assembling what you want war gear wise. In general, I just hope it doesn't coincide with a massive cull of rules in the new codex. We had things like the Chaplains and Librarians on bikes go away. Hopefully the same isn't true for the various different bits of war gear that can no longer be bought directly. Another interesting thing that's going is the Heroes of the Chapter set for the Primaris Marines. This was one of the individual sprues from Dark Imperium, basically an Ancients bundle with 2 lieutenants and a 5-man intercessor squad. Kind of a bit of a random assortment of models just dictated by what was available on the sprue. I'm guessing that this one's going because it was kind of a temporary kit to allow you to get the Ancient, and now they've released an individual ancient model, there's maybe a bit less use for it. It does mean that people won't be able to get the sculpt though if they want to. Though I did feel that the value of this one was a bit questionable. The models are all monopose, the lieutenants really are quite plain looking, and the whole thing was still sold for almost £50. Next up we have the Chaos characters on Last Chance. We've got 2 older Finecast sculpts in the Iron Warrior's Warsmith and the Chaos Lord with jump pack, lightning claws and a face full of teeth. The Warsmith, despite being the only unique Iron Warriors model under Games Workshop, I must admit is a kit that I'm surprised they hadn't retired already. It is quite an old one and does feel somewhat superseded by the Warpsmith model. The Chaos Lord with the jump pack does leave you with the more generic options for building a Lord. I have heard rumours though that there aren't going to be jump pack HQs in the new Chaos Codex, which I think would be quite annoying, but it certainly would tally very well with this change. Obviously no confirmation on that yet though, we'll have to take a look at the Chaos Codex when it's out. Finally, and in what might be actually quite good news for models, Huron Blackheart's being removed, and I believe for his part I think it's a lot more likely that it's because he's getting a new miniature as opposed to his going away for good. A Chaos Codex release is supposed to be just around the corner. I understand that he's going to be getting a new Black Library novel in the near future, and we did see this rumour engine of a claw with a flamer that at least has the potential to be a reimagining of his gauntlet, and I think somewhere between those facts and the fact that he's going away, I'd put some fairly good money on him getting a new plastic sculpt somewhere within the near future. Finally, just as if we didn't have enough teasers that Codex Chaos Space Marines was coming, they also appear to be removing the data cards for them as well. They've not done that with anything like Imperial Knights or Guard or Chaos Knights or anything, so it does imply that the Chaos Space Marine Codex might well be next. I guess we'll watch this space. Finally, on the big last chance to buy chopping block, we have the Warzone books. Both the Warzone Charadon and Octarius ones are going away. I'm not sure there'll be too many tears shed for them. I'm sure the people who wanted them have already got them. But even in getting removed, they do still pose more issues for the game. It really does cement their reputation as being fairly temporary publications that aren't exactly the best value. But even though they're still on sale, they are still a game legal part of match play. You'll still be able to use things like the Skitarii Veteran cohort or the Orcs Blood Axe expansion. They just won't be able to be bought for new players, which is kind of a problem in itself. I feel that's yet another thing that Games Workshop's going to do to drive people into the arms of Warhapedia and Battlescribe. It's just pretty unhelpful having fully legal game rules that you can't actually directly get from the official source in any way. You have to either go second hand, or go to someone who's either scanned it or uploaded the rules online. They really would be doing themselves a big service if they just uploaded a very cheap digital copy of these, and just gave people the option to buy that from the start, rather than asking £30 plus for a book that has fairly flimsy value from a game point of view, but still might have very important rules for your faction. So overall, a rather interesting selection of things on Last Chance to Buy right now. With these sort of things going away from both Space Marines and Chaos, I think it does give us a few glimpses as to the future of Games Workshop's plans. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Is this sort of cull just going to keep on happening on a small basis until we don't have any more Firstborn Marines? Or are they just pruning away the extraneous options that don't sell very well? Look forward to hearing what you have to say. If you've enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where I'll certainly keep the regular 40k content coming, with new videos out just about every day. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page, and you can find that down in the video description. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages, seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things happen next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some really big model kits. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, then the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.